but there's a lot of concerns about the residents around them.
Gotcha.
And there's concerns for a variety of reasons. There could be concerns for the local economy. It could be concerns about whether it's safe enough, because whilst these sites were in fact built for temporary accommodation, they might have not been built for accommodation long enough to sustain people. And how many people are you going to have in these sites?
Yeah.
Because in order to viably shift people from hotels into these military bases, that's a lot of people. And of course, a lot of people cross-party are in agreement that we need to move away from hotels because it is expensive. But military bases are also pretty dehumanizing for a lot of people. It might make them feel like prisoners. And also, we don't know the circumstances of a lot of these asylum seekers. They may be in a situation where they have very hostile relations with military. They may have been running away from the military, and it might be, you know, a negative experience for them to be back in that situation. So there's many concerns, both physical and mental health concerns. But in regards to whether they're being used, no, not necessarily.
I mean, they're not currently, I'm just wondering, they're not going to be run by the military.
No.
Right.
It's just the space,
It's
the
just
base
the
that they're
space.
going to use to kind of build affordable, sustainable homes so that they can shift them out of these businesses, right? It's hotels.
I think for me, one of the concerns that kind of came to mind when I read this article was, where's the blueprint coming from? Because there's always kind of like, you know, there's an idea on the surface that sounds good, and then when it manifests, it starts to look a bit like, okay, is this looking very similar to, you know, a Gaza situation,
Right.
or you know, that was kind of where my concerns were going. Like, where is this actually? What is the goal here?
Right.
What is the end goal? And is it really what it looks like on the surface? I don't know if you guys got that from...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they're just shifting them from one space to another. But like you said, what's the impact? What's the long-term, you know, outcome of this? Because ultimately we're looking at the current reports on immigration and all the people that they're trying to kind of deport. That includes some of us as well. You know, some of us are very borderline on those lists.
We're not excluded.
So, yeah, what's the outcome?
That's the thing. We don't really know how this would look in practice. A lot of campaigners have, you know, drawn parallels between this and concentration camps. And whilst a lot of people might feel like they're very dangerous parallels and very inaccurate parallels, the reality is, if we were to look at propaganda in the 1930s to justify moving other communities, the most marginalized communities in society, to what was like ex-military bases or military bases and so on, the same justifications were used and the same assurances were given that, look, this is not inhumane. But the reality is, it is inhumane. And there's bigger concerns around asylum seekers. It's how long it takes to process them.
Yeah.
It takes an immense amount of time to process asylum seekers, which means they can't work. They have nothing else to do, and they can't be productive to their local economy or their families back home.
And there's a huge gap in the whole, you know, word that we're going to be quite centrically focusing on today is integration.
Right.
You know, how do you expect these asylum seekers to integrate?
Exactly.
If you're going to lock them up into bases and give them that concentration
Right.
vibe, right? Right. Okay, well, I think
move on to the next story. We could probably talk about this for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so new polling suggests 2 of 5 Britons believe Muslims cannot fully integrate into UK society.
Oh, touche.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so these claims have been disputed by Sarah Khan, who was the former anti-extremism commissioner. She said around 85% of Muslims do want to integrate and believe integration is the right way. So the vast majority of us do want to integrate and have integrated into British society. But the reason why a lot of other Britons across different demographics believe that Muslims can't integrate is because of the rise of anti-Muslim hatred. Right? We believe that somehow we are another. But we know that's not to be the case. Before the cameras were rolling, we were talking about the England game.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen,
Exactly.
without the England team in the current, you know, players, there would
Right.
only be 2 English players in
Come
that
on now.
team,
Right.
right? Like, let's be real.
Right. But then that's precisely it. We are very proud, we have national pride, but there is this moral panic that we somehow do not belong nor seek to belong in Britain. And it's easier to justify that we don't belong if it shows that we have some sort of animosity to the British society. But when we are very much integrated in society and active participants.
I kind of always wonder, what does this integration, what's the definition that people really want? So the people that, you know, responded to that poll,
Right.
I would be interested to know
Who they
what
are.
is your actual definition
Yeah.
of what integration is supposed to look like.
you know, maybe it's going to the pub or something like that. I don't know.
I mean, if that's it, then it's not
Yeah.
really, you know,
Yeah.
that doesn't really give much layers to the definition of the word. So my point is that why does it mean that integrating into Britain and into British society means that you must sort of, all it implies that you must abandon,
Your
you know,
faith.
your heritage, your culture, your religion to become what is deemed as British.
Right.
You know? I mean, I don't know your thoughts.
Yeah, you
on
know,
that.
I agree with you. I mean, what is British? Britain is one of the most diverse countries in the
is.
world. You know, London itself, the amount of languages that are spoken in this one city,
Right.
and the number of cuisine available in this one city, it's a pandemic, literally,
Yeah.
that word, you know.
mean,
It's
just
nowhere in the
precisely it.
world. I don't think, ever fathom living anywhere else, because what London offers me as a British Muslim, Asian woman, no other country or city can offer me that. But, you know, here we are talking about 2 in 5 Britons believing that Muslims cannot fully integrate. And I'd be really interested to see that pool of people that they
Yeah.
got to answer this survey.
Right.
Not just the Brits, but also the Muslims who, you know, 85% of us believe we can integrate. What about
Right.
the rest? Where the others? You know,
Where the
what was
others?
the pool? What percentage of the actual 4 million population did
Right.
you actually? Because I never got that poll in my
That
post.
poll, I didn't get it either.
There's 3
Two
of
in
us right
5.
here.
That's like, what, at least 40, how much percentage of that's 40% of the population?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think anyone got that poll, so
We
please
didn't get the
provide me
memo.
the statistics, and you know, then we'll talk.
No, but also, what does integration even mean?
Yeah.
Is integration at odds with multiculturalism? Because we don't have to strip parts of our identity. In fact, Britain has historically taken from many communities. We see East London has been a hub
Yeah.
of multicultural exchange. Even prior to, you know, waves of South Asian integration, it was a hub for Irish communities and for Jewish communities.
Absolutely.
And now it's become a hub for South Asian and black and brown communities across the board. And that's the thing, and that's precisely it. A lot of the, you know, we see after Unite the Kingdom marches, people going to get a curry or getting
Yeah.
a kebab.
A kebab.
And that's what British culture is. It's a mix of things. We are a melting pot.
Yeah.
So does integration mean that you strip away your culture, or does it mean that you embrace things and become a melting pot and become a multicultural society? And that's the real question that we have.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
really
we
well
definitely-
said. Really well said, Ibrahim. And I think we're getting to a point now in our identity where we are able to embrace being a British and a Muslim and whatever ethnic, you know, biomakeup we are made of, rather than before, you know, when we were growing up, maybe in the 70s or 80s, and even to some degree in the 90s, where we had that identity crisis. Now, Met police officers, what's going on in the next headline? Unlikely to face further action following the fatal shooting of Chris Kaba. That's really interesting,
Yeah.
because we originally genuinely thought something was going to come out of this.
Right.
So what's the detail? What's the juice?
Yeah. So just a reminder for people who forgot the story, they shouldn't have, but who forgot the story, back in September 2022, Chris Kaba, who was unarmed, was shot by a police officer. And that's
Yes.
because he was in a vehicle that was linked to a previous firearm incident. But there was mass protests that broke out straight after that, because an unarmed man should not be shot by a police officer
Absolutely.
fatally. And initially, there was a murder investigation. The police officer, I believe it was 2025, was acquitted of those charges. And then the independent commission that was reviewing this case initially said he would be investigated for gross misconduct, but he's been cleared of those charges. So the police officer, Martin Blake, will not be facing any sort of charges, whether it be legal ones or within the Metropolitan Police system.
So it hasn't impacted his career.
No.
You know, the bottom line is.
No.
Or his life.
No.
And we have an innocent civilian who has died, and there's no compensation for the family.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of parallels to it. There's a lot of layers to the whole story, because to say innocent is, you know,
Is
a question around
alleged.
his. He was definitely an alleged criminal, but that does not mean that he deserved to be killed.
Right.
And this is where the, you know, the part comes in about justice. Have the family received justice in their family member
Yeah.
essentially being killed? The part that concerns me is that what's come off the back of this case is that they're now looking at changing the law around armed forces being
Right.
able to kill
Shoot.
and shoot people on the spot
Yeah.
in those scenarios. So my
Without any
concern,
justification.
without any justification, and my concern with that is, are we going to see more of this
Right. Is
now?
this a danger
Because-
precedent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to turn into ICE, BBC version?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the concerns that people have had. Because the matter of the fact is, regardless of whether Chris Kadler committed crimes or not, regardless of whether he was connected to a vehicle that was related to a firearm incident, there needs to be correct due diligence. The matter of the fact is, when he was killed, he did not have a weapon on him.
Exactly.
So it puts into question a lot of the procedures carried out by the police. What due diligence would they take, and how do we know that Chris will be the only person impacted? We know for a
Exactly.
fact there has been misconduct in other ways. For example, recently with Henry Nowak. And that led to mass far-right protests, despite his parents urging the public to not politicize his death. But we've seen that across the board now. We've seen misconduct, or at the very best, incompetence. And people want to see what steps would the police take in order to ensure that this doesn't happen to another Chris Kadler or another Henry Nowak.
I think another thing as well is that with this particular, situation, he was unarmed, but we've seen the police apprehend criminals who are clearly armed.
Right.
For example, the guy, I cannot remember his name, but he had killed the 14-year-old boy with a knife.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And with the sword, in fact, it
Yeah,
wasn't even a
machete.
knife. It was a huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was up on the roof. They would chase him all around. Nobody shot this man.
Right.
So in
And he
these
was armed.
situations, and he was armed. So we can see the disparities. And I mean, I don't know if we're going to see a clear-cut way through being, the police using due diligence at this point, because we've come so far and they haven't. They don't seem to use it.
No, they
when
don't. And
need
we do
to.
have to kind of question the integrity of the police at the best of times anyway, because we have experienced a bias outcome on most things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Well,
We'll
that's
go on to our-
also another conversation we could have for hours.
Exactly, definitely. So our next story is the BBC Director General says the TV licence fee is yesterday's model as discussions continue over the broadcaster's future funding.
Right.
TV licence, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, roughly 1 in 8 houses do not pay the TV license, which means that there's significant financial strain on the BBC. Now, the new director, who's only been in charge for 6 weeks, has not confirmed how he specifically wants to fix this revenue gap, but he has suggested potential compulsory levies, and that would entail, regardless of whether you watch the BBC or not, regardless of whether you watch the BBC or not, you have to pay. And it doesn't matter if you watch TV, it would be slid into maybe electricity bills or other types of bills in order to fund the BBC, which is publicly owned. And that's really a contentious issue, of course, because some people are like, okay, great, the BBC can continue existing and continue its so-called impartiality.
Broadcast,
But the other issue is, a lot of people can't afford their bills as it is. So is this going to increase the average person's bills? And if it's going to maintain their bills at the same rate, which is unlikely, but if it's going to maintain their bills at the same rate, how are we going to fill revenue gaps in other areas? So it's a very, very contentious issue. And if we aren't going to opt for compulsory levies, what else are we going to opt for? Because it's clear that the TV license model, and with the director's own admission, Matt Britton, it's a antiquated model. and that's no longer fit for purpose for the modern BBC.
Of course, because not a lot of people are watching live TV
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Not via channels nor online, and that's the very fine line that they are not understanding. I've cancelled my TV license not so long ago, and when I cancelled it, she was trying to convince me to keep it, and I'm saying to her, listen, I don't watch anything. Like, we have no subscriptions to any YouTube lives or any live TV. We don't even watch the Salaam channel. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think with
we
me-
literally have nothing. Like, if anything, they'll download a movie and watch it. Nobody has
Right.
time for that kind of TV anymore.
Right.
My mum, on the other hand, still has a TV license because she's always watching Sky and, you know, all the channels that are streaming live.
Yeah.
Right.
So if that was the case, maybe they should consider making it a little bit more affordable. Because as a layperson, as an individual that works in TV, I do believe that, you know, it falls on us as a community to keep this amazing public platform alive.
Right.
But if you make it affordable, then yeah. But I've been paying you like 15 odd pounds for the last 5 years of my life, and that could have just gone into my savings.
I mean, but the numbers speak for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because we know we are in a cost of living crisis. We discuss this every week. 80% of people don't pay it. So it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You can't now then expect people
1 in 8
to...
people don't pay.
1 in 8
Yeah.
people,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
One in
Got
eight.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, that's still a lot of people.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
It is-
That's a
it
lot
is
of people.
If
Not
you look
ain't
at the
it?
million figure, yeah.
So, really and truly, like you said, it's, are you going to make it affordable?
Yeah.
Or just really, you know, find another something. You trying to feed it into electricity or another bill
Right.
is just adding to people's
Right.
problems, to be fair. So I think it's going to cause more problems. I don't think it's going to work for anybody.
And
I think
also,
they should,
how do we change the consumption of our media? I mean, how do we adapt to the change of consumption of the media? Because we need to also be reactive. For instance, the printed press, it still exists, but the consumption of it is much less
Very
than
low,
in the past.
yeah.
And people put much more emphasis on broadcasting. Now, it's much more on social media. Information has become much more democratized. You know, anyone can make a video, anyone can do journalism. So how do we adapt to that in the current climate? How do big companies keep up?
Yeah.
And there's other ways of producing revenue that BBC could, you know, look at. And Matt Britton hasn't ruled them out, the director. But it's currently seeming likely that the most viable alternative for the financial sustainability of the BBC is a compulsory levy, which a lot of people won't be happy with. Because if you don't watch the BBC, then why should you be
I
paying
pay?
for it?
Yeah.
Other than the football recently,
Yeah.
I don't
mean,
know.
yeah,
Right,
well,
right.
even that you
Exactly.
don't. We go and watch it in a restaurant or cafe or something. That's more fun. Look, the bills are rising, cost of living is rising, and I think, you know, let's just start. They all need to kind of come back and start channeling it and be a bit more fair on the consumers and with the affordability factor.
Inshallah.
Right, last and final headline for this morning. Reform UK apologises after sharing an AI-generated image that falsely depicted a village cleanup. Oh, wow. That's mockery of AI. I'm insulted.
So in Kent, they did a village cleanup,
Yeah.
and as you could see in the headline picture,
It looks very different.
it looks very, very different. The fence is whiter, the pavements look better, the tarmac looks better, and the reality is they wanted to make their village cleanup look more effective than it is.
Yeah.
And whilst this might seem like a funny story on the surface, it is quite dangerous because if I don't live in Kent and I see that on the internet, I would very much believe that they are transforming the area. And that's a very minor example. If they, you know, showed entire cities looking different, that could change people's perception on what a reform governed area looks like.
Yeah.
And regardless of what your beliefs may be on them, it's fundamentally wrong cross-party if anyone were to do something like this. We need to ensure that we show the reality of it, but how can we show reality and how can we distinguish between the reality and fiction? Because AI has really blurred the lines. So it's raised greater ethical concerns rather than just being a funny story.
Yeah, I mean, even the sun looks shinier.
Right.
In the AI image, the sun looks shinier.
They improved the sun as well. They really did.
They've got a different sun. They're cleaning up the sun as well. Look, it sounds like such an interesting kind of way to entice people to go to Kent. But you're right, there's so much kind of so many blurry lines,
Right.
and that kind of, as far as I'm concerned, that falls on the lack of regulation of AI.
Right.
And, you know, the lack of independent entities across these parties
Right.
that are actually checking the standard of work being carried out by governing councils, right? It's fine, you know, councillors and councils are going to try and make their city or village look better than it is, but who's actually going in and doing that tick box exercise and saying, yeah, okay, you've met that, you've met that, you've met that. You know, they need to have independent people in place, don't you think?
Right. Of course, there needs to be, a lot of people are calling for greater regulation in regards to AI. And also, you know, this particularly has been an active conversation with the Reform Party, because Matt Goodwin, who is a senior official within the Reform Party and stood in the Gorton and Denton by-election, he allegedly wrote an entire book using AI, because if you look at his footnotes, some of the footnotes didn't exist. So they were AI hallucinations, and some looked like it was leading back to ChatGPT. So it's been a bigger concern, regardless of whether it makes your roads look better or it comes to the production of an entire book. So people have been questioning the usage of AI. So it raises greater concerns that I think our viewers should be really thinking about.
Yeah, I think definitely, because it's an abuse of power in a certain way, because you're misleading you're misleading the public, you know, to think that you're doing something that you're not. So and to gain extra votes. But anyway, that's I guess another conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can sit and talk about AI for hours. I mean, I love AI to some degree, but I also realise that there needs to be some sort of regulatory body in place, and inshallah that will come as we learn to use it, and the more we use it. Ibrahim, thank you very much for this lovely breakdown of the news headlines this morning, and you know, hopefully I'll see you at the game on Wednesday. You know, England versus Argentina. I'm sure all the Reform supporters are going to be wearing their England tops, shouting for all the non-English players that make up the team.
Will you be with them integrating, won't you?
Yes, absolutely. That's integration at its finest in Great Britain, mashallah. But we're going to go for a break now, aren't we?
We definitely are. We'll see you back here soon.
How did you ensure that whatever you're writing is true to the core of, you know, a person's experience?
In today's world, with so much happening, a lot of people love art, and that's it's an escapism, but it also speaks to deep-rooted need for people to do art, to make art. All the books that I read with Muslim characters, we were always shoved inside a very small, tight box with no room to breathe.
Nida Trust presents the National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Good evening and a very warm welcome.
We will start this evening's awards ceremony with a recitation of the Quran.
Allah has created all other creation by just the word kun fayakun, which means be and it is. But there's one creation that Allah has left behind, and that is the human being. And that human being is shaped by Allah's hand.
Being a teacher is a very important responsibility. Teachers guide, support, and inspire others.
The National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Start your day right with the UK's first Muslim morning show, Salaam Britain,
where we dive into the trending stories that matter to you.
Share recipes from around the globe that will ignite your senses.
Celebrate guests that are making waves.
And showcase the diversity that makes our ummah beautiful.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Five Pillars is not just any ordinary game show. It's a unique platform to deepen our understanding of Islam and strengthen our connection with our faith.
I'm keen to win.
50 points. Give that to me.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Pass. Pass as we hold it.
The losing team out that way.
Islam Channel, your gateway to the world of Islam. Inspiring, informing, entertaining. On TV, online, on our brand new state-of-the-art apps. With original content for a Muslim audience and inspirational Islamic programs from all around the Muslim world. Watch live, watch offline, create your playlist, watch across all devices. Download now from wherever you usually get your apps. Islam Channel. Watch anytime, anywhere.
Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headlines.
How did you ensure that whatever you're writing is true to the core of, a person's experience?
In today's world with so much happening, a lot of people love art, and it's an escapism, but it also speaks to deep-rooted need for people to do art, to make art. All the books that I read with Muslim characters, we were always shoved inside a very small, tight box with no room to breathe.
Nida Trust presents the National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Good evening and a very warm welcome.
We will start this evening's awards ceremony with a recitation of the Quran.
Allah has created all other creation by just the word kun fayakun, which means be and it is. But there's one creation that Allah has left behind, and that is the human being. And that human being is shaped by Allah's hand.
Being a teacher is a very important responsibility. Teachers guide, support, and inspire others.
The National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Start your day right with the UK's first Muslim morning show, Salaam Britain,
where we dive into the trending stories that matter to you.
Share recipes from around the globe that will ignite your senses.
Celebrate guests that are making waves.
And showcase the diversity that makes our ummah beautiful.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Five Pillars is not just any ordinary game show. It's a unique platform to deepen our understanding of Islam and strengthen our connection with our faith.
I'm keen to win.
50 points. Give that to me.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Pass. Pass as we hold it.
The losing team out that way.
Islam Channel, your gateway to the world of Islam. Inspiring, informing, entertaining. On TV, online, on our brand new state-of-the-art apps. With original content for a Muslim audience and inspirational Islamic programs from all around the Muslim world. Watch live, watch offline, create your playlist, watch across all devices. Download now from wherever you usually get your apps. Islam Channel. Watch anytime, anywhere.
Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headline. Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headline.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headline.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headline.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Welcome back to Salaam Britain.
Now, it's time for us to go and watch a video, go and watch a series called Entrepreneurs Unlocked, which is a series about entrepreneurs showing the behind the scenes of running a business. Let's go and watch that now.
I thought, why can't people feel confident like I am and how I wear my identity? I felt cool to be Muslim, and I wanted that to also be instilled in the next generation. There's more challenges, and I think this is why we need to build a foundation of more confident Muslims. I actually am the first female winner of the National Quran competition here on Islam Channel. This was when I was 12 years old. I've kept my faith at the center of everything that I do. So, Assalamu alaikum, I am Nusayba Mohammed Timul. I am the founder and CEO of Wow Creative Arts. I'm also a multidisciplinary artist and entrepreneur working across arts, fashion and faith education industries to represent and bring a space for Muslims to be heard and for their self-confidence to be increased. And Wow Creative Arts as an organisation, it is multi-pillared and it is a Muslim creative organisation under which we have our award-winning and world's first Muslim creative arts school where we teach drama, poetry, singing and art, and everything is created in-house. So we are building everything from scratch. It is a blueprint that we are working on. We also have the Wow community, through which we conceptualize and execute family zones and creative zones within large iconic festivals, and to bring a space for Muslim communities, and through which we also have like social enterprises and other community work. And then we have our Wow network, under which we come up with ways to bring a middle ground for Muslim creatives and Muslims to find employment, and when they when they graduate from, say, for example, university and they don't have a safe space for work, they either come to work with us under Wow Creative Arts or they work with other organisations we facilitate. We also, under Wow Network, have the Wow Factor and many other shows. And then we have Wow live performances, through which we have made history actually, performing, writing and directing the first time a non-Shakespearean play presented at Shakespeare's Globe, and the Wow kids have performed there. I wrote and directed that, so it was a big deal. And we do live performances and we work on theatre shows where we try to bring something new, something fresh, and access for young Muslims to be in spaces where it isn't usually accessible to them or welcome for them. And lastly, we do training and development, and we work with Muslim schools where we try to work on training their teachers and the school in itself to instill and integrate creativity within the classrooms and their curriculum. But also most recently, we've been working with more on a more national level, creating educational packs, working with, for the Muslim Heritage Month in Parliament. We've worked with 10 Downing Streets creating educational packs. So I think the pivotal moment for me to divert from, fashion and my previous work. So I was actually quite successful in the modest fashion industry. I was consulting, and I got to travel a lot. I was having so much fun, and people think I'm crazy to shift from that to something so challenging like Wow Creative Arts. But the pivotal moment was when I was within those environments and I was working and I was traveling. I noticed that a lot of Muslims, in particular young Muslims, were shying away from identifying as Muslims or being proud to be Muslim, and felt like they had to change themselves to fit in those work environments and social environments. So I thought, why can't people feel confident like I am you know, and how I wear my identity and my Muslim faith. Why are people shying away from it? And I felt cool to be Muslim, and I wanted that to also be instilled in the next generation. And so in 2019, you know, I just had a moment, and I was thinking about legacy, and I was thinking about that. And I think although it's quite early, I'm quite young to think about legacy, but I felt like it was almost, I was drawn to it, and I felt a responsibility. And so that's when I launched Wow Creative Arts, and I wanted to have a space where I bring my educational background and network from both the Muslim and the Muslim society and educational background, but also the creative and industry and the wider society. So I think also going back for me, I didn't mention earlier, but I actually am the first female winner of the National Quran competition here on Islam Channel. So back in 2006, when Islam Channel launched the first Qur'an competition, and the final was in Excel, I won that, and this was when I was 12 years old. And since then, you know, I felt like I have this, Allah has gifted me with a voice, and there's a purpose behind it. And so from a very young age, I've been, you know, bridging that gap between the work that I do or the studies that I do in my regular and wider society, but also I've kept my faith at the center of everything that I do. So it is quite unique, and it's a very unique combination to have. But that was, you know, as I grew older, my pivotal moment was that I want to give back to society. I want to instill that excitement and pride that, you know, being Muslim is cool. So I think the work that I do is so important because of that initial moment. Yeah. So for me, I think it's so important to have a creative space and outlet, not just for those who want to have a creative career or become an actor or singer or anything like that, but it is really, creativity, I believe, is a universal language, and it is a way to instill self-confidence and pride in your identity, understand ways to really express your thoughts and process. And I think more than ever, now is the time. It's crucial because there's a rise in Islamophobia. Young Muslims are shying away from identifying as Muslims. They are more isolated because of social media, and there's more challenges. And I think this is why we need to build a foundation of more confident Muslims, more Muslims that can take up leadership roles, more Muslims that are, you know, thinking about others around them and not isolated. And I think creativity is that outlet. Creativity enables you to do that. And I think more particularly what we do is we have drama within the school, which is what differentiates us from all the other creative organizations, because drama is something that is a bit uncomfortable for many people. It is outside of the comfort zone, but it is the one key thing that will allow you to become a better speaker, allow you to express yourself, write better, tell your stories. And we need to tell our own stories, because when someone else tells our stories, it's not authentic. So my experience with the judges was incredible. I think for my category, which is the female-led category, business category, something that is, you know, celebrating Khadija radiallahu anha as well. For me, when I walked in the room and I saw 2 female judges, instantly I felt really happy about that, because it just shows how, you know, we are empowering more and more female business owners and more female to take up those spots. And overall, I think it was wonderful for me to be able to present all the hard work and all the work that we've been doing behind the scenes. And I think for myself, I'm always on the go. From one incredible opportunity and incredible initiative that we have, we jump onto the next and the next and the next. So I really don't have the chance to ever sit down and reflect on what's happened. So by having and going through this process and sharing that with the judges, I also got to really enjoy that timeline and the moment. So I thought that was wonderful, yeah. My journey so far.
Nida Trust presents the National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Good evening and a very warm welcome.
We will start this evening's awards ceremony with a recitation of the Quran.
Allah has created all other creation by just the word kun fayakun, which means be and it is. But there's one creation that Allah has left behind, and that is the human being. And that human being is shaped by Allah's hand.
Being a teacher is a very important responsibility. Teachers guide, support, and inspire others.
The National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Nida Trust presents the National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Good evening and a very warm welcome.
We will start this evening's awards ceremony with a recitation of the Quran.
Allah has created all other creation by just the word kun fayakun, which means be and it is. But there's one creation that Allah has left behind, and that is the human being. And that human being is shaped by Allah's hand.
Being a teacher is a very important responsibility. Teachers guide, support, and inspire others.
The National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Start your day right with the UK's first Muslim morning show, Salaam Britain,
where we dive into the trending stories that matter to you.
Share recipes from around the globe that will ignite your senses.
Celebrate guests that are making waves.
And showcase the diversity that makes our ummah beautiful.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Your opportunity to challenge the status quo. You call in and set the narrative. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Islam Channel. Islam Channel. Join us to discuss hot topics dominating the headline.
How did you ensure that whatever you're writing is true to the core of a person's experience?
In today's world with so much happening, a lot of people love art, and that's it's an escapism, but it also speaks to deep-rooted need for people to do art, to make art. All the books that I read with Muslim characters, we were always shoved inside a very small, tight box with no room to breathe.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Britain. Our next guest is Shahid Zaidi, author of The Othered Woman, How White Feminism Harms Muslim Women.
So through her writing, Shahid explores how Muslim women are often overlooked or misunderstood in mainstream feminist conversations, while encouraging more inclusive discussions around identity, faith and representation.
Right, so today we're going to be talking about her book, what inspired her to write it, and why these conversations are so important. Shahid, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so
Welcome
much
to
for
Salaam
having me.
Britain. We're so excited because before you'd even arrived, me and Amina had already started talking about this title, you know, without even reading the book, because I feel like it's something we both resonate with so much, you know. The feminism, how it's impacted us as Muslims, and quite often I feel like how it's enforced upon us.
This is it.
And I don't want it. I just don't want it because I walk around telling my kids I'm not a feminist, and they're like, okay, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not. So alhamdulillah. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Look, we want to kickstart the conversation, and obviously we want to talk about the book, The Othered Woman. But before we talk about the book, I want to talk about the woman behind the book, right? So tell me a little bit about yourself, you know, and what actually inspired you to go into writing.
Yes, so I'm from Sheffield. I've been a writer for I think 7-8 years now. And I've been a journalist for 8 years, but I was doing something like copywriting before that. And I also used to be a civil servant a long time ago, which was I did it for a year, and I was like, this is not for me. I always liked writing, but I never thought like a Muslim woman could really get into like journalism or media. Like I didn't go to university and do that. I did criminology because I thought I'd go into kind of like academia and research in that area. But I was, in my copywriting job in the pandemic, I got put on furlough and then I got made redundant and I was living with my parents. And during that time, I was talking to some other journalists who are freelance. They're like, oh, have you tried freelancing? You are lucky that you don't have to like pay bills or anything at home, so you could give this a go and see if you like it. So I started like looking for editors' emails and thinking of ideas I could write about, kind of bringing together kind of this idea of experiences of Muslim women and my love of like TV and film and books. So I started like pitching to editors. I think this was 2020, 2019. And alhamdulillah, I got commissions and I started to really like it. So I became a freelance journalist to begin with, and I was doing that for 3 years. And then I joined Stylist magazine, which is based in London, for 2.5 years, where I was doing their culture section. And now I'm freelance again, and I've written a book, which is amazing, alhamdulillah. I started thinking about this book in 2021, so it's been also quite a long time as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
No, thank you.
Now we know who you are. MashaAllah, such a turbulent energy, and full of like so
turbulent
much
but
content.
calm, actually. Turbulent.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the nicest things someone said to me. I do think I can be quite a stressful person.
You've got very
it's a calming environment.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
Okay, so the book's called The Othered Woman. I think it's such a powerful title, right? Because the word othered, I think, being black and brown people, we use this terminology quite often in certain conversations. So to us, most of us, we would understand what it means to be othered.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of people have no understanding of what that looks like. So The Othered Woman, what did you want people to really gain from this book? What do you want people to understand about what it is to be the othered woman?
I want people to kind of understand what it's like to be a Muslim woman in Western nations, because I think it's such a specific experience where we are one of the most isolated and alienated communities, and that's just Muslims. And you bring in the gendered element, especially if you're a visible Muslim woman. I think I was reading statistics the other day that Muslim women who are visible and wear the hijab are the most likely victims of a hate crime, because they're so instantly identifiable and so instantly othered in that moment by anyone in the public. So I wanted to bring that and focus on the feminism that we all, if you're born and bred here or if you went to school here, this is the white Western feminism is what we're kind of taught at school, what kind of, mainstream media kind of tells us, TV, film, books, this idea of kind of a very superficial feminism that only focuses on a very particular experience of womanhood, which is usually white womanhood, and then every other kind of woman has to kind of fit into that ideal or fit into that default. And for me, that's kind of the othering of what this kind of feminism does for marginalised women, but also specifically for Muslim women.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense when you're saying that. You know, we can resonate with that so well, because feminism isn't about being less feminine.
No,
you know, and this
it's
is
a big misunderstanding.
This is such a misconception that comes with being a feminist. Because if you're a feminist, suddenly you're defying everything that is female. But actually, I believe being a feminist is actually embracing your femininity, and empowering that version of you to become a powerful female rather than a female that defies being a female. You know,
so there's this idea that if you want to be a feminist, or you want to kind of be or believe in the feminist ideals, you have to kind of want to be like a man, or you want the same things as men. But actually, men also suffer under patriarchy. Absolutely. So actually, we need to think about the structure and how to break that, so that we're all living better lives instead of thinking, oh, like female CEOs or female billionaires, and having that as a measure of progress for women. Whereas actually, having a female billionaire doesn't do anything for any of us in the room.
Well, it doesn't, because, you know, if we look at historically in Islam, you know, Khadija radiallahu ta'ala, she was a rich woman, you know, she was a businesswoman,
rich woman,
but we never questioned her femininity, you know, she was still the wife of our Prophet, and, you know, she's one of the most greatest examples of women in Islam.
Exactly.
And she would never stand there and say, oh, I'm a feminist, I'm like a man. No, of course not. She embraced being a woman, being a wife, being a sister and a daughter, and a mother.
And a businesswoman.
Absolutely.
And a businesswoman.
Well, okay, look, you know, this is such an important book, right? And I feel like it's opening up so many doors. And on that note, why do you think doors need to be opened? Why do you think female Muslims, particularly visible Muslims, as you just mentioned, need that voice in mainstream?
I think it's because our voices aren't really there. You know, I've come from a journalism media background. I mostly work in like women's magazines. And yes, things have got better, and you have Muslim women, you know, stories and people working in those kind of newsrooms. But I think we're still under, I think, something like 1%, and it's a very, very small amount of people. And also, the Muslim women who are working in journalism and media and broadcasting, they aren't in like positions of power. They're usually, you know, writers, or maybe they're editors. But, you know, where are the editor-in-chiefs, or the people who are making those decisions of what headlines to run, what images to run? And those are also important, because I think media, especially the mainstream media and especially right-wing media, has really created this idea of the Muslim woman stereotype, which then white feminism then feeds into, of this, we're weak, we're submissive, we're oppressed, we're controlled by our fathers and our brothers, we get married often when we're teenagers. And that stereotype still holds, and I still sometimes have conversations with, I think it's more ignorance than being malicious, but with women in these kind of circles, where like, oh, you know, you don't wear the hijab. I'm like, no, I don't, and that's my own kind of personal choice.
Yes, you're doing.
And you're like, oh, you know, you're nearly 32 and you're not married. It's like, actually, it's. But I think it's this idea, the stereotype is so embedded in the mindset, especially the Western imagination, that they can't imagine, like, I guess, like a single Muslim woman who is like in these kind of spaces. And yeah, I think the stereotype still really holds.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry, I mean, I know you're supposed to ask a question next, but you know, it's just come to me. It's not on my questions, but as a female Muslim that has worked in sectors where you're surrounded by diverse group of people and non-Muslims, and you know, I used to be in that space, you know, 6-7 years ago, and I used to always look around at my female Muslim colleagues and wonder what they're doing to engage in the conversation, to promote themselves rather than be quiet. Do you think sometimes we are our own enemies and part of the problem?
I think sometimes we are. I think sometimes it's also an element of safety and trying to just get through the working day. Because I've spoken like on this book tour of people being like, oh, I don't always feel like I can have these conversations with people, especially when you're in the workplace or you're in a professional environment. Like, oh, like it's taxing, or sometimes like I'm not in the mood, or sometimes, you know, you read the context of that conversation and it's not, you can tell that somebody's not...
read the room.
Yeah, you read the room, or maybe somebody isn't that curious and is quite close-minded. So if they've come out and said something that's kind of borderline Islamophobic or racist, I think sometimes some people are like, oh, actually, I'm not going to engage with that because am I going to be able to change this person's mind? Probably not. But I think for me, I'm like, if I can... I think it is about context of conversation. If someone said something and I'm like, oh, actually, I think you are probably quite open-minded and curious, and maybe your education of Islam has come from. Because I think people in this country, if you don't know Muslims or you don't seek out Islam, the way that you're taught it at school is so preliminary and basic and so filled with stereotypes that I don't blame some people if they've never engaged with it, that they're like, oh, I don't know anything about it. So with those kind of people, I'm like, oh, no, I will have a conversation with you, because that means I can promote my faith and you get a better idea of kind of what it's like to be a Muslim and a Muslim woman.
Yeah, I think we have to, I think we have to bridge a gap between this, the way that we have to, or the way that we feel like we have to police ourselves, and the way that there is a lack of cultural competence in the general society, because it's that balance between the two that we're trying to find.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what you know, that is the cause of what you just mentioned.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
a lot of us feeling like we have to conform to this ideal, you know, to I guess reach a level of eligibility for whatever it is that society's expecting from us in some ways.
Yeah, to be considered like a good Muslim.
Right. But I want to go back to this term, which is white feminism.
Yeah.
Because I think it's quite important to kind of really define it, especially for the viewers at home, to get an understanding of what you mean by this, and not just that, but the impact and what that looks like as to how we've arrived at what we were just talking about. Do you understand what I mean?
So for me, the way I've defined it is, because I think a big misconception is equating white feminism to like individual white women.
Right.
For me, white feminism is a structure of thinking, and marginalised women can also engage in that structure of thinking as a way to kind of progress in a society where they want to become powerful. So it's basically a structure of thinking where the feminism is based on this idea of a universal womanhood, and that womanhood is based in whiteness. And it sees whiteness as both the default and also the position of power. And then, you know, it doesn't look at intersectionality. It doesn't look at different types of, you know, we all have different things that make up our identity. But for white feminism, it's very flat in its thinking, which is we only focus on womanhood and we only focus on misogyny without thinking about racism or Islamophobia or classism, which are all things that we do need to think about because they do inform how people navigate the world. But yeah, for me, it's definitely a structure of thinking, and you do get people who maybe are black or brown women who also engage in that structure of thinking in a way to make themselves, I guess, enter those rooms of power. I'm thinking of, you know, people in government officials, especially like on the right-wing side of politics. These are women who I would argue are probably not progressing gender equality, but they use feminist rhetoric, especially white feminist rhetoric, to gain more power for themselves.
And that's the part. It's that part there.
It's the individual power, rather than thinking about the collective of equality.
But this
for all
is where
women.
we need to kind of now focus our energies on and shift that conversation, right? And open that dialogue into a more inclusive conversation. Because that is where we're going to get the true reflection of different people's version of what they believe feminism is. How important do you think that is, and how can you see this book impacting that across, you know, different groups and pools of spaces?
I think if inclusivity is not in feminism, I would argue it's probably not a feminist. It's not feminism. I think inclusivity and intersectionality has to be at the heart of feminism. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You're not achieving equality. You're achieving a small bit of equality, maybe for some women. But what about everybody else? You know, do we have to now wait for a group of women to achieve power for then us to like follow behind and like get the scraps of what they've had? So I think if it's not inclusive, then I think it's just not feminism. So for me, it sits at the complete heart of it. And for me, this book sits amongst, you know, other literature as well. And, you know, it's built on the back of other Muslim women who've written.
So how can we do that, Shahid? How can we have inclusive conversations?
And I think it's this is it. I think it's conversations. I think people don't talk to each other anymore. And also, I'm a big proponent of like critical thinking, which I think sometimes is a skill that doesn't always get taught, and it is a skill, like to think critically and to engage with either the news or politics or culture in a way where you're not just kind of taking something at face value. You're like, oh, okay, I've read this headline and I've read this news article, and then for me, so what I do, because I guess I'm in media, I'll take one story and I'll read it from different tabloids or newspapers to see how one story is depicted in so many different ways, and it's fascinating to see how
100%.
all these newspapers and magazines can talk about one story in such an array of different ways. And, you know, thinking also about like media bias and every paper, every magazine, every TV channel, there's always some sort of agenda or bias, which is just the way the world works.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's the art of talking to people and being in spaces that are inclusive. Like for me, many years ago, International Women's Day events used to be very white. You'd get maybe like one black woman on the panel, one Muslim woman on the panel, and for me that feels tokenistic.
Well, it's just tick box exercise.
Yeah, it feels like
and
you know that person feels that way. Whereas now I think it's getting a little bit better with some events and some organisations where you can attend, Women's History Month stuff, and actually you're not the only person in the room. And for me, I'm like, okay, someone, a programmer or an editor has made an effort there to be inclusive and to ensure that a variety of voices are represented, so we can talk about women's equality for all kinds of women, and not just a specific type of woman.
Yeah, I love that.
I think it's definitely, we're in a time where these are hard conversations.
They're hard conversations.
They're hard conversations to have, but we have to have them.
Yeah,
because
overdue.
If we don't, we're not going to see the changes that we need to. We're not going to change minds. We're not going to change understandings. We're not going to get rid of the misconceptions. So it's definitely important, and I love the progress. And I think this book is definitely one that I'm definitely going to grab.
Oh,
I know my daughter is she would love to read this. Inshallah,
I'm so
it will
glad.
be something that I think I'm going to gift her. But
I love people that gift books. My favourite.
She's a reader. She's an avid reader. I think you're the same, right? Because you're a journalist.
I love reading.
Yeah, she's an avid reader. She does love a good book.
We're in the National Year of Reading.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
mashallah.
trying to get more people reading, because very few people do.
It's a dying skill, to be fair.
I know.
I mean, I'm guilty of it. I love audiobooks personally, but I'm
still reading.
I'm an auditory person,
Yeah.
so yeah. But anyway, I wanted to find out how well has this book been received so far? What have been the responses that you're getting back? Because it must be similar to the conversation that we're having now. Obviously, there's like-minded people in the world, and you kind of want to get outside of that box and kind of get into the people that don't really get the understanding. So what has been the response that you've got so far? And especially when they're hearing terms like white feminism, what's the response?
So on the actual book tour, so in-person events, it's been mostly positive. There have been some, I would say, not tricky questions, but I think women who maybe have identified as white feminists or have realised that that's kind of the kind of thinking that they've had, or that's what they've learned, and so they want to know, I guess, more about the term. And because the title has, some people have called it controversial. I would argue it's not that controversial. But so online has been a different story. I think people are very ready to criticise or be abusive or say violent things to you.
Yeah, keyboard warriors.
Keyboard warriors.
We love them.
In an online forum. So it's been interesting to see the in-person kind of reaction and then the online reaction. Not to say it's been like horrible online, but there have been a couple of, I only have Instagram, but so social media has been a weird one to navigate when people are like, oh, this book is disgusting, or this book is really violent. I'm like, but why do you think that? And some of the stuff that you're saying feeds into the stereotypes of you thinking that being a Muslim is inherently a violent thing, or thinking that our faith is just an inherently violent thing.
Yeah.
So it's been a mixed reaction, I think, depending on the context. But yeah, I've been really pleasantly surprised by the in-person events, and I've tried to do them. I've joined like festivals and bookshops, so I've tried to have like a variety of people in the audience. So it's been kind of Muslim women, women from marginalised backgrounds, but also white women, older women, some men. So it's been alhamdulillah, been great. But yeah, it's been interesting to see social media kind of what people are willing to say, which I would argue they would never say to your face.
Yeah, of course. Like we said, we love keyboard warriors, the bots out there that increase the engagement on that post, mashallah.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it. They're doing you a favour.
They are.
Keep it coming.
This is it. This is because I'm not going to reply.
Yeah, we love it. You know what? Haters and bad PR is always better than the people that love you and give you no PR, right?
This is true.
So keep on hating. Let's go. Look, like you said, you've been, round, and you've kind of been to different spaces where you've promoted this book. What is the misconception that keeps coming to the forefront time and time again about Muslim women in relation to feminism?
I think it's this idea that Muslim women can't be feminists, or maybe not feminists, but don't believe in equality of all women's liberation, or this idea that Islam is
haram.
Everything is haram.
Everything is haram. Women can't speak. Women can't do anything. Women can't work. Women can't go to school. And that's been one of the biggest misconceptions that I wanted to like push back on.
Yeah.
Actually, there's loads of Muslim women doing so many things.
Yeah.
That is to do with Islam as well. Like Islamically, you know, we've been gifted so many rights, so many years before the Western world got their rights. You know, they were talking about divorce, you know, a few decades ago. We've had the right to divorce a long time ago. The right to education, the right to have a business.
The world's first ever university
By Muslim women.
Exactly.
was by Muslims. Yeah, come on, like, you know, get
Which
with
is
the
a fact,
program.
because it's in the book as well. It's like, it's a fact I always like to say, and like, oh really? I was like, yeah, it is.
It is.
Exactly.
It is.
SubhanAllah. Look, okay, before we let you go, it's been such a pleasure, and I want to kind of just keep talking to you about this because I think we're both like, you know, guilty of being Muslim feminists.
I love it.
But tell me, where can we buy that book? How can we follow you? How can we get in touch with you? And all the trolls out there, how can they send you horrible messages?
So the book is available in loads of retailers, so Waterstones, you know, bookshop.org, independent bookshops.
Okay.
It's also, you know, you can ask your library. I love a library.
Yeah.
Ask your library to bring it in, and you can borrow it. Also, Pluto Press publish it, so you can buy it on their website, which is, I think, plutopress.com.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I'm on Instagram, so it's at Shahida Zaidi. If you would like to follow or send me a message.
Okay, that's brilliant. Shahid, it's been amazing talking to you.
No,
We could
thank
talk
you.
probably for at least another half an hour, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
That's what podcasts are for.
For real,
For
that's
real.
actually a good point there. But it's been lovely having you this morning. I wish you all the best with this book and the success of it. May Allah bless you and bless your book's success as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I mean, what an amazing young lady. And this is the kind of woman we want to be raising. This is the kind of woman we want to be seeing in our homes, in our daughters. Because this is the kind of woman that we all wanted to be and are trying to be. But, you know, we didn't have that opportunity to be vocal, to be able to say our piece.
There's plenty
and
of
this
us
is
being
why it's
vocal
so
now.
yeah, now I know you can't bloody stop us, mate. So, you know, it's about time we really kind of start enabling our sisters, our daughters, our mothers to have that space and say, you know what, I have an opinion and I'm a Muslim feminist and I don't have to deny myself being a woman to be that.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. It's part and parcel. It's part and parcel.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All right, we're going for a break.
We are. We're going for a break.
See you after the break.
Assalamu alaikum. We are here today to celebrate the launch of the Amir Abdul Qadir Al Jazairi program.
The military hero, the statesman, an architect of a polity, the consummate diplomat and scholar educator, the Sufi, whose life was rooted in the knowledge of God and the embodiment of the noblest human values.
He's everything that could embody today's Algeria, and he's still and always will remain a great example for future generations of Algerians and of Muslims and non-Muslims across the world.
A figure who has been inspirational, not just to Algerian nationalism, and has had that role for a good century and more, but also to French imperialism.
Nida Trust presents the National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Good evening and a very warm welcome.
We will start this evening's awards ceremony with a recitation of the Quran.
Allah has created all other creation by just the word kun fayakun, which means be and it is. But there's one creation that Allah has left behind, and that is the human being. And that human being is shaped by Allah's hand.
Being a teacher is a very important responsibility. Teachers guide, support, and inspire others.
The National Muslim Teachers Awards 2026.
Five Pillars is not just any ordinary game show. It's a unique platform to deepen our understanding of Islam and strengthen our connection with our faith.
We came to win.
50 points. Give that to me.
Oh my god, I don't know.
Pass.
Pass as well. Hold it.
The losing team out that way.
Pick of the Week has returned. Come and join us each week as we showcase the best highlights from our daily programming at 5:30 p.m. every Sunday on Islam Channel.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Britain. So, what are we doing now? Go for a break?
We are going to go and tantalise those taste buds.
Oh, we're going to eat.
Yes,
We're
we
gonna
are.
eat food.
We're going to fill up that tummy and we're going to give you ideas on what you can rustle up for dinner tonight. Let's go to the kitchen.
Hello, my name is Halima Ferreira and I'm going to show you how to make nasi kabuli, Indonesian fried chicken rice, my style. To start our recipe off, we're going to have to cook our rice. In this pan, I've got the water from the chicken. You then put some crushed lemongrass, a few shallots, some cumin, coriander, bay leaf, and a little bit of allspice. And then you just let the chicken cook in that water. You drain it and you save it for the rice. That's exactly what I've done. So over here, I'm going to just add in a little bit more water. I'm going to add some kibbled onion. I'm going to add another fresh bay leaf in there. And last but not least, our rice. And then we're just adding it into our stock. We're going to stir that through a little bit. Mix it all together. We're going to cover it and let it cook on a low heat, about 15 minutes. And then we'll get back to that. The next step is we want to fry our chicken, so we need to get a nice big pan on. We need to put some oil in there and bring it up to 180 to about 190 degrees. So we're going to let that get up to temperature for a second. Now that we've checked our oil's hot, we're going to start placing the chicken in. But be careful with it because it can spit at you. The chicken still does have water on it on the skin, so it might spit. So do be careful when placing this in. Gently. Like this. So what I like to do is cook the chicken for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, just so it's nice and golden. We want it to be nice and crispy and a great golden colour. Our chicken's ready to come out. I like to use this spider because it drains, it just helps drain that excess oil a little bit, and then put it onto some draining towel. Pan is very hot, so do be careful when frying at home. And now we're going to check on our rice. That's perfectly cooked. Steam out. I like to use a fork and go around the edges to break it apart. And now we're going to start assembling our dish. We're going to go around the edges of the rice. We're going to place it into our dish. I'm going to sprinkle some toasted pine nuts on the top. Now I'm going to place some chicken on top. And now I'm going to garnish our dish. I like to get a bit of toasted ground cumin, sprinkle it on the chicken. Some freshly chopped coriander. And to finish garnishing off, some freshly sliced cucumber. Some spring onion. And lastly, some nice little red and yellow peppers. And our nasi kabuli is ready. How I like to serve this is with a lovely, it's a red chili sambal. I cook that with some red chilies, some basil, some Thai lime leaf, and it's got shallots in there, and you cook it down really, really well. It's best to be made the night before, the flavors really infuse, and also a nice fresh salad. Bon appetit.
Assalamu alaikum, I'm Chef Sarah and I'm here today to teach you guys how to make a special chana chaat. It's not what you would traditionally find in normal recipe books or on the internet or even in shops, so it's my own version. For the cooking part, we need oil, we need mustard seeds and cumin seeds, we need onions sliced, we need tomato passata. You can use tomato passata, you can use tomato tin grinded. Then we need salt, we need chaat masala. Chaat masala is a very important ingredient. That's what gives that chaat taste. Then we have chili powder and we have cumin powder. And then we have the actual elements of it, which is the chickpeas and the potatoes chopped into small pieces. And then for the garnishing part, we need yogurt and we have the tamarind sauce. We need red onions, we need coriander, and we need pomegranate seeds. So I'm going to start by first putting some oil in the wok. Just need a couple of tablespoons. Then in go the cumin seeds and the mustard seeds. So when you hear the mustard seeds starting to sizzle and pop, in go the onions. So today we're not actually going to be browning the onions, we're just softening them. Once they're softened, we put in the tomato straight away. So now that the onions have softened, we're gonna put the tomato in. Once the tomato goes in, we now add the salt and all the spices. So I added in the salt and the chaat masala. Now goes in the chili powder and the cumin powder. Now that we've put the spices in, we just need to leave it on slow for about 3-4 minutes and let it simmer so all the spices get cooked nicely with the tomato. Now for the potatoes, what we do, this is a special technique, you use half the potatoes and you actually squash them with the back of the spoon into the sauce. What this does is it actually thickens the sauce a little bit and gives it a different texture. And then you add the rest of the potatoes and leave them whole. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to add half of the potatoes and just squash them a little bit, just a little bit. You can actually smell the aroma of all the different spices combining and cooking with the tomato sauce. It smells really delicious. Once we've slightly squashed the potatoes, now we put in the rest of the potatoes, and we also put in the chickpeas. Give it a good mix. So once it's sizzling and boiling, you just put the lid on and let it simmer for 2-3 minutes, and then you switch it off. It's all done and ready for the next step. So now it's time to serve and garnish. So you can make individual bowls, which look really nice for individual portions, or you can make a big bowl or a big plate to serve in a larger gathering. For extra flavor, what I do is I add the chaat masala into the yogurt that we're going to use as a topping. And we still save a little bit more chaat masala for actually sprinkling on top as well. So now this gets spooned straight on top of our base. Now it's time to garnish. So first we're going to use these. These are called sev, and you can find them in most Asian supermarkets, and you just sprinkle them on. So next we're going to use the onions, the coriander, and the pomegranate. Okay, so for the final step now, we've got a tamarind sauce here, and we've got the chaat masala again, which we're just going to sprinkle on top. So first, we drizzle on the tamarind sauce. And finally, just a sprinkle of the chaat masala. And there you go. Perfect dish, perfect for a snack or even as a starter, a family favorite, so easy, so delicious to make.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zarka and today I'm sharing a very special snack recipe of Punjabi samosas. Yes, they are stuffed with potatoes and peas and they're traditionally eaten a lot in South Asian families. But nevertheless, they're very popular around the world with different stuffings. So let's begin the recipe. So first thing we need to do is make the pastry because it needs to rest. So I have plain flour here, about 1 cup, and then pinch of salt in this, just a little pinch, and some carom seeds, otherwise known as ajwain as well. So you get a little bit and you rub them with your hands and you add them into the flour, perhaps a little bit more, and then you need some oil, say about 2 tablespoons full here, and then I'm going to rub it together to form into breadcrumbs. Now that they resemble the breadcrumbs, I am going to add a little bit of water, a bit at a time. It doesn't need awful lot of water because the consistency shouldn't be too soft. Then you just mix it up and make it into a nice ball like this, and then you need to let it rest for at least 20 minutes to half an hour. And this is the dough. That's what it looks like after 20 minutes of leaving it on a room temperature. You don't need to actually put it in the fridge, and then just remove it from the bowl, put it on worktop like this, and then just knead it further for a minute or so. So dough is ready to be now made into samosas. We will be dividing now the dough into equal pieces, and we're making the tiny samosas here. So you can see a little bit of dough here goes a long way. So now we will just roll it and make it into tiny balls. So then you get a bit of plain flour and you're going to roll this out. So do this with your fingers, make it flat, and then get a rolling pin and roll it out, making sure all the parts are equally rolled out. Once it's rolled out, then you cut it into half. and leave them on the plate until you're ready to fill them with the stuffing. And now that we've made the pastry, time to actually make the stuffing. So I have coriander seeds, fennel seeds, and cumin seeds. And now I'm going to roughly grind this. You don't need to put it in a food processor. Now that I've got this all grinded quite roughly, I've got a pan here heated up. I'm going to add a little bit of oil, any vegetable oil would do. And then I will add the chopped up ginger, garlic, green chilies, and fresh coriander. We leave it till last. We will fry this for about half a minute, and then I will add the cumin seeds, the fennel seeds, and the coriander seeds into the mixture. And now we'll add the mixture of already boiled potatoes and peas and a little bit of sweet corn. We will stir this. Give it a good stir, and it's still on medium to low heat because it's actually cooked. You're just combining it with the spices and the herbs. Time to add the remaining spices. So a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of salt, red chili powder, a little bit more of coriander powder, cumin powder, some chili flakes, and fenugreek leaves. Now that everything is in there, we will stir it. And as you're stirring it, mash up these boiled potatoes roughly. And then you can take fork and just any bigger bits, just smash them down. Heat is off now because this is cooked. And it smells absolutely gorgeous. So now we will be actually stuffing the samosas. So you take one half and you're basically making triangle. Make sure the corners are properly sealed so the stuffing will not escape. Just press it with your hand. Keep this fold on the inside, a pocket, and then you simply stuff it. Then press it down with the filling, and then you just stick the ends together, just pressing them down. So now we simply will be frying it in oil. Oil shouldn't be too hot or too cold. It should be just at the right temperature so your pastry cooks through. And this should take about 5 minutes or so, and then your samosas will be ready. Punjabi samosas are ready for your tea time or for those special guests that are arriving.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Chef Shazia, and today I'm cooking a delicious vermicelli pudding. The star of the ingredient is obviously the vermicelli, and then it's flavored with lovely dates and topped with some nuts and rose petal. It is the perfect dessert to enjoy in this month of Ramadan. To start this dish, I've got some ghee and some cinnamon sticks and some cardamom pods. So I'm going to add in the ghee into the pot, and I'm just going to wait for it to melt down. And in with it, I'm going to add in the cinnamon and the cardamom pods and temper the spices so that the aromas release. So you want to melt the ghee within the spices so that the ghee is full of flavor. So the ghee has now melted. I'm now going to add in my vermicelli. This is dry roasted vermicelli, but I'm going to add them into the ghee. And this, I'm going to further roast them with the ghee, so until they change a bit of color. The vermicelli is starting to change color, so it's been coated in the ghee, and it's gone from that light brown color, changing into a golden brown color. Into the vermicelli, I'm now going to add in some water, and this will steam the vermicelli to soften it all up. So you just want to quickly want the water to evaporate. I'm going to reduce the heat on the stove and now going to add in my milk. What I want is the milk to come to a gentle simmer. So while this is simmering away, I'm going to show you the next component of the dish. What's wonderful about this dessert is that it doesn't use any refined sugar. It is actually sweetened with dates. So over here, I've got half a cup of majdoul dates. And what I've done is, to get this date puree, is soak these dates in hot boiling water for 15 minutes. I've then pitted them and made them into a puree as is. And you have a lovely caramel molasses that is added into the vermicelli pudding, which gives it a beautiful caramel color and the natural sweetness as well. The vermicelli pudding is just about to bubble. I'm now going to add in the date paste that I prepared a little bit earlier. I'm going to stir the date paste into the vermicelli pudding. And as the date puree is stirred in with the vermicelli, the cream color of the vermicelli in the milk changes to a beautiful caramel color, and at the same time sweetens this dish, and it also thickens the dish. And it's as simple as that. You have a beautiful, rich and robust, flavorful vermicelli pudding that you can definitely enjoy after iftar. This delicious dish can actually be served warm on winter nights, but it can also be served chilled on summer evenings. I'm going to now garnish it with some rose petals. And I've got some almonds as well that I'm going to add onto the top. This vermicelli pudding can be easily enjoyed for dessert, but it can certainly be enjoyed as a porridge for breakfast.
Hello, my name is Halima Ferreira, and I'd like to show you how to make a very easy milk cake slash tres leche, because it does have 3 milks in it. I start off with a basic sponge, which is something you can make in advance, and then I infuse 3 different milks, which I'll show you in a second, with saffron and cardamom. Those are the flavors I've decided to go with today. And then I garnish them with cardamom pistachio, slithered pistachio, rose petals, a splash of cream, and the infused milk. I pre-made a sponge mix earlier. Generally, you would make the sponge, poke holes into it, and then soak the syrup in, and that's if you'd like to eat it straight away. If you would like to make this dessert a day after, it's best to keep the sponge without the syrup, keep it wrapped up quite tightly, and then I will show you how to make this. I'm going to trim the edges of the sponge. Turn my board around. I like to square it off. I'm then going to poke holes into it, because we need to soak the syrup in. And now I'm going to pour in the syrup. So the syrup composes of condensed milk, evaporated milk, and just normal milk. And I've infused it with saffron and cardamom. So that's going to soak in a little bit. Drizzle. After pouring the syrup on, you need to leave it for a couple of minutes so that the sponge gets nice and moist, and then we're going to cut it. You can cut it into squares. I like to make it look pretty, so I'm using a cutter. Get right down to it. And now we're going to plate this up. 1, 2. I'm going to pour some more of the syrup around it and over it. We want to make sure that's nicely covered in syrup. It is a very moist cake. And now, to finish our dessert, we're going to garnish it. I'm going to warm up my spoon in a little bit of warm water. I'm going to get the whipped cream. Put that on each of them. Next, I'm going to get some pistachio, the ground pistachio.
Delicious, doesn't it?
So hungry.
Yum.
But it's been amazing. We've had a beautiful interview today, and we're going to see you again tomorrow.
Inshallah.
Make sure you join us.
Don't go anywhere. Stay in touch. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.